A lot of people have been wondering what's happened to Crunchyroll over the last couple years since the merger between them and Funimation. Since it's been about 3 years going on 4 since they officially acquired them, and the merger happened in 2022, a lot of stuff has been going downhill and Crunchyroll's been going all over the places. Let's take a look at this Bloomberg report where they interviewed 18 different people from past to current employees and get the scoop of what's actually going on. A lot of questions have been asked about what's going on with Crunchyroll since the merger, between a lot of stuff with the employees getting treated bad to weird business decisions that affect the viewers that enjoy their service. A lot of people have been wondering about these questionable business decisions Crunchyroll has been making since the merger. So let's take a look at this article that actually dives into what has been happening. This was done by Bloomberg Business Report, and it's kind of interesting on how this article dives into it. We're going to take a nice, long, extensive look at it, go over every paragraph that's in this, and I want to just take a real quick dive into it. But to start off, this is where I found it at. This was sent to me by one of my moderators, but this is the initial put out of the article talking about Sony's Crunchyroll finds its early lead in anime under attack, which is going to talk about how Hulu, Netflix, and Amazon Prime are taking their steps into getting into the anime world that has taken this world by storm. But I do find it funny, this comment right here really sticks out to me. This reminds me of the Boeing McDonnell Douglas merger. MD execs took over Boeing and basically ruined the company. That's going to come into play as we go into this article. So, let's get to it. Sony's Crunchyroll finds its early lead in anime under attack. Disney and Netflix are expanding their popular Japanese cartoon genre. Yeah, anyway. At first glance, Sony Group Corp's $1.2 billion acquisition of the anime streaming site Crunchyroll in 2021 looks like a success. Subscribers to the $8 a month service have tripled to 15 million since then. The number of new shows has doubled to more than 50 every quarter, and that's a lot of shows to try and keep up with. As an anti-tuber, it's a lot, by the way, just putting that out there. But the rising popular anime, Japanese cartoon featuring complex plot and colorful characters, has attracted competition. Netflix, Walt Disney, and Amazon are all digging into their deep pockets to license shows, making it more expensive for Crunchyroll to compete and giving fans less reason to subscribe to the niche service. Internally, employee support for management and its vision has trailed downward in recent months. Expensive forays into video game and e-commerce aren't going well, and the company's ambitious goals for new subscribers additions seem unlikely to be met. There's growth in casual anime viewers, but not core anime fans, says Zaho, research manager at Ampere Analysis? I think that's how you say it, I'm not sure, which follows the media and entertainment businesses. Those people will tend to watch it on Netflix or Amazon Prime, which is more mainstream. Crunchyroll declined to make any of its executives available for the story, which is based on interviews with 18 current and former employees, all of whom asked to not be identified discussing internal matters. In an emailed statement, Crunchyroll said its exclusive titles, theatrical releases, events, merchandise, and games offer everything an anime enthusiast could ever want. There's never been a more exciting time to be an anime fan, and we are strategically feeding a pipeline of anime content and experiences that fuels that fandom, deepen the love of anime, and exposes more audiences to the medium, the company said. The Crunchyroll business is outperforming our financial expectations, and the company is well positioned to continue to grow alongside the rising global demand of anime. Since its founding in 2006, Crunchyroll has been the go-to destination for Western anime viewers. I was about to say, make sure it mentions it originally was a pirating website. Originally a site for pirated content, the company over time licensed almost all of the major anime programs from Japanese studios. Along the way, it also became a special place to work for anime lovers. Crunchyroll employees cut deals for new shows and monitored viewer data out of offices themed with characters from the programs. They enjoyed a culture where they felt heard by their bosses. In bad moments, employees joked, "At least we don't work for Funimation," their main rival, which was owned by Sony. Then Sony bought Crunchyroll, because there was a lot of rumors that they treated people bad at Funimation. There was a lot of rumors. I don't know if anyone ever came forward and proved those rumors right, but I think this article is going to do that, considering what you're about to hear. Tension between the camps arose almost immediately. In a Zoom meeting announcing the decision, Funimation workers accused Crunchyroll of being pirates, alluding to the site's history, according to two people who were present. Crunchyroll Chief Executive Officer Colin Decker and General Manager Joanne Wagner left in the ensuing months. I decided the time was right for me to focus on my family and pursue my own company, which is in a very difficult industry, Decker told Bloomberg. Current or former employees described Crunchyroll's new management, primarily from Funimation, as out of touch with employees and the anime fans the company once prioritized, which is a very common theme when big companies take over. They take the people who know what's going on, kick them out, and put the peons that will listen to them in that position, which most of the time they don't know what's going on and are very out of touch, and they just don't care because they get paid to do what the big dogs tell them. Some executives write off anime as kids' cartoons, they said, and resist hiring job candidates who describe themselves as fans. Customers weren't too happy either. Some were furious when Crunchyroll announced that digital copies of animes they had purchased through Funimation won't survive the transition through the platform, which I have touched on multiple times, where on my server for Boxy-chan, there were a couple people who had a library of digital. They literally told them they can go screw themselves, but here's a Microsoft gift card to kind of counterbalance your $2,000, $3,000 library of anime. Here's a $50 Microsoft gift card to make up for the trouble. At that point, to me, as an anime business owner and as an anti-tuber, that proved to me that it's gone downhill and they really don't care about anime fans anymore. You are just cash cows, in my opinion. When that happened and that got proven to me and it sounded like a scam, it went downhill for me. It went out the window. But I didn't know at the time that the chief original people, like the chief executive officer and the general manager, they left. I did not know that at the time of hearing this. So now that we're hearing that Funimation kind of just took over and filled in those spots, it makes sense of they don't care about the fans, we're just cash cows. It makes a lot more sense now. Since the acquisition, the company has undergone at least 3 rounds of layoffs. Current employees said Crunchyroll's strategy is unclear, resulting in a climate of uncertainty and confusion. Just 39% of its workers surveyed recently said management has communicated a strategy that motivates them, according to internal poll seen by Bloomberg. That was down from 51% in the previous poll. Another reorganization is planned for early 2025, according to 2 people who's heard it's coming. So they're probably going to lay off more employees. In response, Crunchyroll said its staff has grown by 27%, but wouldn't clarify since whether Funimation staff were counted towards the increase, which it probably was. The company said it has over 100 open positions in the office around the world. Crunchyroll's internal growth plan includes an initiative called 25 by 25, meaning 25 million subscribers by the end of 2025. The goal the company has said in internal documents is to give it a large enough base of subscribers to compete for new shows with more mainstream services such as Netflix and Warner Brothers Discovery Inc. Max, which I'm pretty sure it's like Disney and stuff like that. The company isn't likely to meet their target, according to insiders who spoke with Bloomberg. The goal wasn't based on rigorous analysis of the markets, instead designed to project a big, catchy number, they said. The projections call for tripling subscribers in India and Southeast Asia, for example. Yet in the second half of fiscal 2024, only one of the 6 major regional markets that Crunchyroll set targets for was on pace to meet the goal. According to data reviewed by Bloomberg, that market was Latin America. Crunchyroll is expanding into new markets, including India, to draw potential long-term subscribers. The service is available there for about $1 a month, a price that is likely too low to be profitable, according to 5 current and former employees. Crunchyroll is also increasing the percentage of anime it dubs in Hindi, according to data analyzed by Bloomberg. The company said its subtitles or dub shows in 12 different languages, including Hindi, Telugu, and Tamil. I'm sorry if I'm saying those wrong. I am an uneducated American. So right now we're about halfway through the article, and it has brought up a lot of things that have been making a lot of sense now that I think about it, especially from the climate change of how Funimation was horrible. Now they're pushing on the Crunchyroll. And don't get me wrong, apparently it wasn't the best before, but since the merger, it's only gone downhill for employees, as well as voice actors, which we've seen in recent months. So it kind of makes sense on why it's been going downhill, why there's a lot of very not good things for fans going on as of late. So let's just keep on going, and I'll give my final thoughts at the end here. Yet Crunchyroll is struggling to hang on to subscribers, with insiders saying its 2025 target has been pushed to year end. According to an internal document seen by Bloomberg, the company aims to cap monthly churn or customer turnover at 8.5%. That suggests the actual rate could be higher and well above the 5% churn rate that's typical of a streaming service, according to analytic companies. Current and former employees are concerned that the mainstream streamers are closing in on Crunchyroll's territory. Shortly after the Sony acquisition, Netflix licensed JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Suddenly, one of Crunchyroll's most popular series is also available on the world's largest streaming service, and its next season was exclusively on Netflix. With their greater reach and higher licensing budgets, Netflix and Disney are vacuuming up hit anime programs like Delicious in a Dungeon and Little Witch Academia from key Crunchyroll suppliers. Disney purchased the exclusive rights to the second season of Tokyo Revengers Tenjiku Arc, another popular show, last year. According to a survey over 4,000 Americans earlier this year by online gaming and entertainment site Polygon, 76% of Gen Z anime fans watch shows on Netflix compared to 58% on Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll argues that sharing shows with Netflix and Disney's Hulu broadens consumer interest in anime will bring more subscribers to the service. The company has also created free ad-supported channels for its programming on Roku and Pluto TV. I just want to make a point. If they're going to do that on Roku and Pluto, why not just have that service it stayed to begin with, because they got rid of it? So now you need to really just pay? Anyway, we already covered that. Their transition and everything from their current paid to, anyway, we covered that already in a different video. Producing anime normally costs around $200,000 to $300,000 per episode on average, a sum anime studios easily cover through deals with Western distributors. According to the anime industry workers in Japan, due to the new competition, license fees for popular Japanese programs are going through the roof. One of those workers said, rising fees may impact profitability of Crunchyroll. Toho and Toei Animation Company, two big anime producers, are interested in licensing to competitors with more potential reach to general audiences, according to the industry staffers in Japan. Netflix is streaming Toho's Beastars, for example. Toho is now distributing film on its own in the US and recently bought the animation distributors G-Kids. I didn't know that, by the way. I didn't know that. Toho didn't respond to requests for comment. Toei announced last year that it will team up with Netflix to produce and distribute a new anime series of a popular franchise, One Piece, after the pair collaborated on a successful live-action series that ran on Netflix. It was great, by the way. Toei also declined to comment on this story. Crunchyroll management figured that they could hook Crunchyroll subscribers on mobile games based on their favorite anime shows like One Punch Man, according to 3 people familiar with the strategy, but the initiative has struggled. Over the past 2 years, 3 games have shut down, including one based on Princess Connect Redive, while the company has launched 4 others. Last month, all games except for one brought sales of less than $5,000 each on the iOS or Android platform. That's insane. According to the data of Sensor Tower, although Crunchyroll invested a large sum developing the One Punch Man World game, the US license for the show was snagged by Hulu. The game hasn't received any update in months, spurring fans to complain online. The company has added more than 30 titles to its gaming vault, which is included in some Crunchyroll subscriptions. It's insane to me on how much money they've invested in mobile games, and it has backfired. If my thing is, just from a layman's term, if I invested a lot of money into one game and it flopped, I would probably do 1 or 2 more. And if they continue to flop, I would stop and get out of it. But no, these guys that worked for Funimation also said, nah, we'll keep throwing the money at the problem and it should fix it eventually. One of these will hook, we swear. But if how many games in the last month? They said if they have like 6 games out, or yeah. They released 4 within the last month, and if altogether less than $5,000, that's insane. Executives also hope merchandising would help retain subscribers and boost revenue, current and former employees said. Viewers would binge on manga comic books between anime seasons instead of pausing their monthly fee or purchase collectible figures of their favorite anime characters. Manga. Just manga, not manga comic books, just put manga and you'll be alright. After taking over the anime merchandise retailer Right Stuff, that's a whole nother thing, for an undisclosed sum in 2022, Crunchyroll's online store has posed to offer manga, DVDs, and toys. The business has shrunk since the acquisition, according to 3 former employees. Among the reasons, Sony asked Crunchyroll to pull the racier manga and toys that formed about 5% of Right Stuff's revenue. Pulled all the hentai and all the spicy stuff down because they didn't want to be associated with it. Over the summer, Crunchyroll laid off employees working on its video game and e-commerce initiatives, aka because they were losing money, they took it out on employees and removed them. One concern among Crunchyroll employees and licensors is that marketing overseen by Marcus Gerdyman, a senior vice president. He was hired by Funimation after marketing several popular Netflix shows like Unorthodox, but had little experience with anime. Gerdyman brought in a cadre of former advertising agency colleagues whom Crunchyroll employees came to refer to as the Boys Club. This is what I was talking about. They get their little yes men in there, and that has nothing to do with anime, doesn't know what it is, or has very little experience and could care less, but he says yes to whatever they want, so they bring him in, and it's fine. And that's, going to lead stuff to go downhill, which has been proven over the course of this whole article. 7 current and former employees said Gerdyman isn't experienced enough for the role, overseeing changes in strategy that cost the company money. In the past year, he has angered both Toei and Toho, according to current and former employees. In July, for example, Toei representatives were underwhelmed at Crunchyroll's concert for the anime hit One Piece held at the San Diego Bay during the Comic-Con. I didn't hear there was a concert to begin with. I probably would have talked about it and said something. The signature ship from the program sailed by, but it wasn't lit up, and so many of those in the audience couldn't see it. Gerdyman oversaw that event. In October, Gerdyman sent an email to staff seen by Bloomberg asking them to not promote the important Toho title Dadan Dadan. Yeah, that's insane. One of the most hit anime right now, they said don't promote it. Don't talk about it. Don't do anything with it. What kind of... This is proving that he is literally the yes man and doesn't know anything about this industry, but he knew enough people and he was part of that boys club, essentially, like they were referring to, and had his own boys club going on. This industry has a lot of potential, especially here in the West, which Amazon sees, Netflix sees, Hulu sees, and Crunchyroll was the catalyst that started it and made it successful, as well as Funimation. But people like Gerdyman are throwing it down the tube because he gets to get paid big bucks to just sit there and destroy stuff. That is literally what is happening. And to prove an example, don't promote this upcoming title that lots of people are looking forward to. We don't need to be associated with it. What kind of world, if he knew anything about anime, this would never have been brought up or even talked about not being promoted. They would have been promoting the heck out of it. Due to ongoing acquisition discussions, we decided to not further lean into promotion of Dadan Dadan to email reads. The show was also streaming on Netflix, where it debuted as the most second viewed non-English show. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're complaining and not enjoying that decision. Even though it's on Netflix, they should have been still leaning into advertising it. At least 2 people who work for Gerdyman filed complaints to Human Resources about his management. One of them alleging sexist behavior and the other accusing him of creating a hostile work environment. Sony investigated the allegations of sexism and Gerdyman was cleared because he's the yes man, so why would they remove him? 7 people speaking with Bloomberg said Gerdyman has negatively impacted employee morale. He didn't respond to requests for comment. Sony didn't comment on the allegations. Japanese manga publishers such as Shogakukan Incorporated, Shueisha Incorporated, and Kodasha Limited are also unhappy with how Crunchyroll manages merchandise rights. The company often makes and sells merchandise or collectibles, such as figures or posters, in ways that publishers don't approve, according to both Crunchyroll employees and staffers in the Japanese publishing industry. Crunchyroll didn't respond to the comment on this issue. Reports of Crunchyroll detailing sales for revenue sharing purposes aren't considered trustworthy, 3 Japanese anime industry employees said. The US company's attitude made some heavyweight manga authors upset as their characters were used in ways they didn't approve or didn't want, the people said. So they're taking liberties, going against what the original creators want because they can make a quick buck faster. So they rather make the quick buck and destroy the relationship they have with the company or the author instead of fostering it and just doing, stuff that they approve of, or taking, a couple minutes to email them, hey, what do you think about this, or reach out to their people. It doesn't take that much. It doesn't, but you like the dollar sign more and don't care about it. Because of that, you are ripping apart relationships, throwing it out the window, and they're going to go to Hulu. They're going to go to Netflix. They're going to go to these other people that will do what they want and will listen to them. All because Gerdyman and all of the people like him in his boys club, as they stated, really don't care. They get their dollar at the end of the day, and that's what matters. Meanwhile, Sony just announced that it increased its stake in Kadokawa Corp, one of the major Japanese anime creators, to 10% as part of the broader business relationship with the company. Sony has long had a strong position distributing anime outside of Japan, but doesn't own much of its content. The companies said they plan to invest in properties jointly and market them globally through Sony's distribution network. Their Strength Alliance could also give other Japanese studios more incentive to find different distribution partners. Industry insiders said. Sony's shares have rose 2% on Friday. Now, reference to Sony buying up more shares of Kadokawa, I'm going to do a little bit of a more in-depth video of that later. I'm still gathering some resources because I want to prove some points that, I can make. But let's go over some of the main key points here. As we all heard, the original people that were in charge, basically, of Crunchyroll were taken out of once Funimation merged with them, and Funimation took over and filled those spots with their employees, most likely. Nothing has been confirmed, but from given how everything's been going downhill and from the merger, they were kind of already hostile going into the Crunchyroll workplace. It's probably a good chance that Funimation staff were pretty much filled in and good Crunchyroll staff were taking out. Another big thing was them trying to push the market, whether it be good or bad, or trying to focus to fix what's going on right now. They decided we just want to increase the numbers. We want to look good so we can get more people in. And it's not going well, it's backfiring. And they can do the same thing with their numbers with the phone games. Let's make phone games that have backfired non-stop. They have lost money on it and are taking out and laying off employees, and they're going to do more employee layoffs in the upcoming year, which is like insane. You know how to fix this problem, and yet you choose not to, which I don't understand. Another big thing that I really just don't agree with is how Gurnman came in is the yes man and will do whatever what Sony wants and what, the OG Funimation people want. And that boys club has been affecting it nonstop. Like we talked about, the relationships between Japan and Crunchyroll, essentially, between Toho and Toei, major companies are getting destroyed. These relationships they've had since like 2008, 2010, just getting destroyed by him. Because he could care less and he doesn't really care about the stuff. He gets paid at the end of the day and that's what he cares about. He doesn't care if the company goes into the ground. He'll just put on his resume, I was this until the end of it. And he'll be like, yeah, it wasn't my fault, it was the employees. That's what it's gonna come down to, and he's just gonna keep riding that high. Overall, this is just awful. This is just horrible stuff that's been going on behind the scenes. Between Gurman's Boy Club, between firing people in different rounds of layoffs, to loss of profits, which are taken out on the employees. This didn't cover anything, by the way, about what's going on to voice actors that Crunchyroll is doing to them now. Like, it didn't cover any of that. Keep that in mind, which I'm really surprised they didn't ask about to these former and current employees. Maybe because some of the employees were also involved, so they didn't want to probe the employees. Not the specific ones interviewed, but just like employees in general. They're not going to meet their numbers. If anything, it's going to go downhill. Crunchyroll, Hulu, and Amazon Prime are going to keep getting bigger titles, keep improving, and keep getting better as the year goes on. I think 2025 Crunchyroll is going to go downhill so fast that Hulu, Prime, and Netflix are just going to swoop in, scoop up a bunch of titles. The only thing that Crunchyroll really has going for it is it keeps up with a bunch of the newer titles. Prime, Hulu, Netflix, they get the bigger, more established titles. Meanwhile, Crunchyroll is literally picking up everything it can to translate and then put on their streaming website. So like when the 2025 winter season starts, there's going to be a lot of smaller titles that people haven't heard of. Crunchyroll will have those. I don't think that's going to change. I think Netflix, Hulu, and Prime are going to stick to the big guns, to the bigger titles, the bigger like upcoming titles, but Crunchyroll is going to have the smaller hidden gems. And it's just going to go from there. God, this article was full of a lot of stuff, and it's a lot to take in between how Crunchyroll lost money ever since the merger, how they fired people, how the whole atmosphere in the company's changed, how they destroyed the relationship with Toho and Toei, destroying relationships between mangaka and stuff like that, taking up these titles that could have been good phone games and just letting them rot because they just don't care anymore, so they just don't update them, like the One Punch Man game they invested all that money into, which they just dropped. And keep in mind, they have like 30 games in their vault, by the way. They have 30 games they have their name to and tied or created. Really curious on that. Also, sidebar, I really did not know that Toho basically took up G-Kids. I find that very interesting. I really want to look into that and see what I find. I don't know if that's ever going to become a video or not. But anyway, let me know what you guys think of this. This was a very long news video. I'm sorry that we went past like 25 minutes on this, but there was just a lot to cover, and I wanted to break down my thoughts and everything. Overall, this is horrible. I don't like everything that came out of this, but it puts everything into perspective that Crunchyroll's been trying to hide. So I'm curious on how they're going to try to cover this up, or how they're going to respond to it, because they just refused to comment at all, and they gave some blanket BS statement. So, let me know what you guys think. Love you all, appreciate you, and I will see you all later. Bye-bye.